Hey guys, today I'm going to be making a video that is on a topic that's often overlooked, although it is very, very important. I think it gets overlooked really often because it's not something we like using, and it's not exactly something that's sexy and adds performance or visual appearance to your vehicle. But nonetheless, if you're stuck without it, you could be in a world of hurt, literally. Today, we're going to talk about off-road first aid kits and what you should be bringing with you on, I'd say, every ride, but definitely the longer rides. I'm gonna go over some of the basic necessities I bring when we go out riding, and I always have this stuff in my Razor's gear pack. And when we go on long rides with more people on more extreme kind of adventures, when I know we're gonna be pretty far away from camp, or we're gonna be gone for the weekend, I like to bring this stuff. Sometimes you need it on the trail, sometimes you need it back on camp, sometimes you even need it on the way to the ride or home from the ride. So you never know when you're gonna need these things, and it's always good to have them on hand. For you guys that don't know, I do work in healthcare. My primary profession outside of this channel is I am a registered nurse. I work in an emergency room. I've been working as a nurse for coming around 15 years now. So I do know a thing or two about first aid, as well as all sorts of other trauma related things. So what I go over here will be both based on what I've experienced on the trail, what I've seen at work, and what I've learned in theory. Putting together a first aid kit can be really easy, and it's pretty cheap. You can go ahead and you can go buy a complete basic first aid kit from any power sports retailer online. Got this one from Royal Distributing. It's their deluxe kit. It has pretty much everything you need to fix up your basic scratches and bruises and stuff like that you'll acquire on the trail or in the shop. And then here I have my supplement. This is a bit of extra stuff that I bring with me. Because I don't feel that these off-the-shelf kits have what I need, unless you go more extreme, spend a few $100s and get yourself a really more kind of professional level first aid kit, something that maybe a first responder would use, or someone that would be going out and overlanding more often, and you know you'll be away from civilization, for example. So we'll go over some of the basics. This doesn't cover everything. It covers what I think is the most important, while also focusing on keeping it in a nice tight package, because let's be honest, storage space is at a premium in these machines. The truth is, we don't often need to use these things, but if we do need to use them, we want them to be effective, and we want to have the tools we need to get the job done, so that if we do run into a little issue, we can get it fixed up, patched up, and get back on the trail or get back to camp. Okay, so let's go through our first aid kits. This is what I've been carrying for the longest time. This is what I'm adding to this setup. These kits are kept in the Razor. You want to try and keep it in a place where it's not exposed to direct heat and light. That's easier said than done. If you're keeping it in extreme heat, extreme cold, cycling temperatures, then you do have to replace these components. The ointments, the bandages, all that stuff wears out much faster. The adhesives break down in extremes. Make sure it's all clean. Make sure it's sealed up so it doesn't get wet. If it does get exposed to elements or wet, you do have to dispose of it and replace the components. You do have to go through this from time to time. I usually go through it once or twice a year, or any time I use it. This is a pre-assembled kit from Royal Distributing. It's one of their deluxe first aid kits. Any power sports store, any outdoor store, pretty much any big box store will sell some sort of a pre-made first aid kit. One thing to keep in mind is a lot of these first aid kits will base their quality on the number of items inside of it, but keep in mind that some of the cheaper first aid kits will say they have 400 items in them and they're $20, but 50 of those are alcohol wipes. Another few are disposable gloves, another few are Q-tips, and then you've got like 70 Band-Aids that you don't really need that many of, and essentially 400 pieces turns into 300 useless pieces and 100 things you need. So spend an extra few bucks if you don't want to put together your first aid kit yourself, and get a better one. This is a great kit for just a basic setup, just some basic necessities. Throw it in the glove box and you're good to go. I like to stack mine. I like to add a bunch of stuff to mine, so that's why you see I've got quite a bit more in here. We'll talk about what's in this kit, compare it to the kits I've put together, talk about what's important, what's not really that important, maybe why it's in there and what you should look out for. So we'll set this kit aside, which is a great starter kit, and we'll go through my first aid kit to show you what I usually carry, and then we'll open the other one up and compare it and talk about it, talk about things I might have or not have, why I have them, why I don't. Okay, let's dig in there. Now, this is far from perfect, guys. Disclaimer is that this is just what works for me. With a pre-made kit or any first aid kit, it's intended to save your butt in a bad situation, and once you've used that kit, opened it, used anything out of it, it's your job before your next ride to go through that kit and make sure it's complete again, so that if something else happens, you have what you need and you don't have half a first aid kit and the stuff you need isn't in there because you used it last time. One of the most important things I find that the smaller kits omit because of space issues, they try to put together a small compact kit, is they don't give you enough gauze, enough cling gauze, enough wrap. So here you see I've got a ton of individually wrapped gauze. We've got a bunch of different non-adherent pads, gauze woven sponges, different sizes, absorbent pads, stuff like that, because this is what you're going to clean the wound with. That's what you're going to clean the area with. That's what you're going to put over the area you need to protect. That's what you're going to get wrapped up in this once you clean the wound, stop the bleeding, whatever you need to do. Something really important to have is some abdominal pads. These are super absorbent and super big. They're great for like a big cut on a leg or something that's seeping a lot. You can wrap them up with this cling. These are good to have. These things, although they look big, you can squish them down. You can put them in a Ziploc bag, and they don't weigh anything at all pretty much. But you need that stuff to help clean the wound and keep it covered up after you dress it. And that's what you'll be dressing it with. Another thing you need some bandages. I know what I use at the hospital. Since I work in healthcare, I do a lot of first aid stuff, a lot of trauma related stuff in the ER. These are dressings you'll see a lot in healthcare settings. This is the Mepilex Border. This is a silicone based dressing. It's very sticky, it's breathable, it conforms to wherever you want to put it. It stays on well, it comes off nicely. These are great. You can buy them online, you can buy them on eBay, you can probably buy them on Amazon, you can buy them on first aid sites, you can buy them at good quality pharmacies. I've gone around and I've bought some stuff I know works, so I've got a few of those. These are expensive. But when you need something in the field, you need something that works. If you spend an extra $1 or $2 and it makes you comfortable, then who cares? If you can afford these machines, you should be able to afford to look after yourself. Metaport plus pads. These are Metaport bandages. It's basically a massive Band-Aid. A big breathable adhesive with a absorbent pad. This is good for bigger cuts that aren't very deep, that aren't really bleeding, that aren't draining a lot. Cover them up, wrap them up with some cling, and you're good to go. If you've ever had surgery, if you've ever had a knee replacement, if you ever had anything like that, you would have seen these. They're not super expensive. They're good to have. They're packaged in plastic. They're very good. They're quite like temperature change, moisture resistant. These are what you need. You need some steri strips. They come in different sizes. These are essentially adhesive stick-on stitches. You affix them to an open area. You use them to approximate a cut, to close up a cut. After you clean it, you close them up with steri strips. You'll see these used in first aid a lot, in the hospital sometimes when someone's got a cut even on their head and we feel we don't really need to put a stitch or two in there, we'll use some steri strips, and in 3 or 4 days they'll fall off and the cut will stay closed. These are amazing. You've got to get yourself some of these. You can pretty much pick them up at any pharmacy. They're not overly expensive. Get a pack or two of these, a pack of big ones, a pack of small ones, and you're good to go. Tegaderm film. Tegaderm is magical stuff. If you've ever had an IV, then you've seen Tegaderm. It's basically a clear plastic. It looks like a saran wrap, but it's adhesive on one side, yet breathable. It's great at covering up a wound, you clean the wound, you dry the wound, you apply this. It's awesome. If you're getting a blister on your foot, or you got a small burn, it's great to keep the elements off of it. It can be used for all sorts of stuff. It stays on really good. You can cut it. It's awesome stuff. You should be able to get this in various sizes. You can get it in rolls at a good pharmacy or online, no problem. Alcohol wipes, chlorhexidine, regular isopropyl alcohol, proviodine, Cavalon. Cavalon is like a barrier agent. It comes in a spray, kind of a foam pad like this, where you just apply it as a soaked pad, or in a Q-tip type application, like a soaked big Q-tip. Essentially what you do is you clean a wound, you dry it, and you apply this over it, and it makes kind of an invisible layer, an invisible bandage. Great for burns, great for little cuts. If you got small cuts somewhere, if you got a kid and he's got a cut on his finger and he keeps whining because he's getting water on it and it stings, this is the stuff you want to put on it. If you have an excoriation on your foot, if you have a scrape, this is good to keep the elements out. And then obviously the alcohol, the isopropyl alcohol, the chlorhexidine or the proviodine are great disinfecting agents. Proviodine would be that yellow stuff you're used to seeing on like TV even. The proviodine is better for big, yucky cuts. The alcohol wipes is just good for cleaning an area up and then putting a Band-Aid on it or something. What else we got here? All sorts of Band-Aids, guys. And if you're getting Band-Aids, don't get the dollar store brand Band-Aids. Get the name brand Band-Aids or anything from a reputable company. I mean, even Walmart, like the Equate brand Band-Aids, the better ones, like the more expensive ones, work well. The Band-Aid brand from Johnson & Johnson, they last longer, they stick better, they don't fall off. Get yourself a variety of Band-Aids. You don't need 300 of them, but make sure you get some bigger guys too, because sometimes these work really good, especially even if you got like a flip-flop on or your heel or something gets worn down, you can slap that on. It'll help make you feel better, especially when you're running around with wet feet all day. Tape, adhesive, all sorts of good adhesives. I've got the transport tape here that you'll see in the hospitals a lot. It's a plastic, easy to tear, breathable adhesive tape. It works great. It's sticky. It's good for bandages, holding things on. This is a little roll of tape I saved from the garbage because we'll use this to secure chest tubes at work in the ER when we put a chest tube in someone. This stuff, we use it for all sorts of stuff in the hospital. It is like the duct tape equivalent in the medical world. It's medical grade duct tape essentially. This stuff is so super duper sticky. It's great for holding things together. You could probably fix like a rat hose with it if you needed to. This is more of a cloth-based tape, great for securing dressings and adding a little bit of pressure. It won't tear, it won't rip. You'll probably have to cut it with scissors or a knife. It's also breathable and it's very strong. Good stuff. Overkill on the tape, yeah, but you can use it for a lot more than medical stuff. Dermabond, wicked stuff. If you want to be cheap and you want to cut corners, get yourself some super glue. Dermabond is essentially a medical grade, high viscosity super glue made for skin. It's a glue stitch basically. We use this in the ER for stuff that's hard to stitch or for a quick fix. I bought this online. The doctors always told me that this stuff is incredibly expensive, so don't waste it. It is. Look it up online. Look at what a box of this crap costs. Essentially, it's purple super glue. What else we got here? I've got a few syringes. I've got a few needles. Needles not to inject you with anything, but needles to clean wounds, stuff like that, to get a splinter out, sterile needles. We've got a 10 mil syringe with a blunt tip on there. It provides a lot of pressure to wash out a wound. If you get a nice cut and it's packed full of dirt and mud and rocks or some road rash, then you can spray it out, clean it up real nice, and then apply some sort of protective layer on top of it. So I've got a couple of those. Stitches. You're not going to be doing stitches in the field if you're not trained to do stitches. Do not do stitches. You need a few more extra tools to properly do a stitch. These are here for absolute, just in case things hit the fan. I don't think there's many cases where you would actually need to stitch someone up in the field, but these can be used to fix all sorts of other stuff too, not just body parts. If you don't know what you're doing, don't use these. If you're medically trained, if you have advanced first aid, if you've worked in the military as a medic or something like that, you will know about stitches. I have them in there just in case. I run on the theory, if you have it, you will not need it. Finger splints, these are really great. You break a finger, you sprain a finger, it's a pain in the butt. You slap that on there, you tape it up, put some gauze on it, and you're good to go. Probably a really common injury, winch injuries, crush injuries. Fingers they're always exposed to that crap with what we do. Topical Benadryl, basically an anti-allergy med. It's otherwise known as afterbite, so it's bug bite relief. Sometimes people are sensitive to mosquito bites. Sometimes your girlfriend, your kids are sensitive. They're whining, they're moaning. You put some of that on there, they feel a little bit more comfortable, makes you happier. Especially if you get attacked by a bee or a wasp and it's swelling up, you put some of that on there. Level up into more of an oral Benadryl. This is Diphenhydramine Hydrochloride, aka Benadryl, pink tablet. It's not open. I'm not going to open it. I want this to stay closed so it stays fresh. You get a bite and you start swelling up. Sometimes people don't know they're allergic to something. Sometimes they do know they're allergic to something, or they have a reaction to some sort of a poison ivy or whatever. You're swelling up. You're having an allergic reaction. You pop 1 or 2 of these. It will help relieve that swelling, help relieve the itch, help relieve the allergy symptoms, help you feel more comfortable. Great to have if you get a bug bite and you start swelling up, your eyes start swelling up because you got a bug bite or something like that. Or in a worst case scenario, you have some sort of an anaphylactic reaction and your airway starts to close. You pop 2 of these, it will buy you valuable minutes to seek medical attention. Get yourself some of this for sure for your first aid kit. You never know, you might run across someone on the trail having an allergic reaction. Heck, someone might be having an allergic reaction to some food or something even. These days people have a lot of allergies. It's good to have something like that on hand. Ibuprofen, aka Advil, aka Motrin, an NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. This is great for pain. This is great for inflammation. It has anti-inflammatory properties as well as analgesic properties. Great for a headache, great for a hangover, great for a headache caused by heat, dehydration, some back pain, all sorts of discomforts you might run into on the trail or before the trail or who knows what. You sprain something, you hurt something, it'll cut back on some of the inflammation and help you feel a little bit more comfortable. Get yourself some of this ibuprofen, slap that in your med kit. One thing I need to include and add is I should add some acetaminophen here, some Tylenol, and that would be a good addition because some people can't take NSAID, some people can't take ibuprofen. If they can't, they'll likely know, and it's usually due to stuff like gastric surgeries or bleeding disorders. So it's good to have some Tylenol on hand as well. Plus, Tylenol stacked, or acetaminophen stacked with ibuprofen works really good for even basic migraines, heavier headaches, and more increased pain. You take a gram of acetaminophen with 400 to 600 milligrams of ibuprofen, and it offers a nice big kick of pain relief to help you get more comfortable through the day. Polysporn, great tool, jack of all trades. Just some Polysporn ointment. I prefer the ointment over the cream. And this stuff just is an antibiotic ointment. If you do get a yucky, nasty cut and it's covered in mud and you clean it out, slap some of this on before you put some gauze on there. It'll stop the gauze from sticking, and it will also give you some antibiotic properties and hopefully reduce the chance of getting any sort of an infection. Cheap and easy insurance. Thermal blanket. Thermal blanket is very important. If someone does sustain a more severe injury on the trail, if you're exposed to the elements, this will help you maintain body heat. It will hopefully prevent you from going into shock as fast. And if someone is going into shock, hopefully it'll at least keep them warm. You don't want to go hypothermic. The most important thing to do when someone has a serious injury is to keep them warm and keep them protected from the elements until more help can arrive. Make sure you have one of these. You can get them for $1 or $2 online or any drugstore, likely any outdoor store. That is what I've been carrying with me for the most part. I think that covers most of the bases on what we would really need. I really feel that if you need more than that, then you've got other issues. This should be enough to kind of patch you up. Do I carry a sling? Should I carry a sling? No, I don't think I need to carry a sling because I think I have the medical knowledge and the fact that we always have the tools on hand to create a sling like we need it. Everyone's always got an extra rag or some t-shirts. You can take the shirt off, cut it, make a sling yourself. Way better than any sling you get in a package. Nice heavy duty cotton sling made out of a t-shirt will serve you just right. It's good to tie up a wound. It's good to secure some sticks or something like that to someone's leg if it's severely broken. You can get creative. You don't need someone you don't need to bring that with you. I'm bringing stuff I cannot replicate on the trail, stuff that I can't use my MacGyver skills to make while I'm out there. You've got to remember, we've got to keep this semi-compact. Storage space is a premium in these vehicles. and you don't want to bring too much more than you need. So let's go through this first aid kit from Royal Distributing. This is very similar to any standard first aid kit of this size. Now, mind you, they are fighting size here. They want it to be compact and easy to carry, so they're making trade-offs for size, and they're making trade-offs for purchase price. They want these to be appealing to people. People are cheap, so you'll see some stuff in here that will be put in here to boost numbers. So let's say this is like a 400 piece kit. I mean, let's be honest, 150 of these pieces are probably gonna be gauze pads, or not gauze pads, alcohol wipes, Q-tips, and probably way more Band-Aids in the standard Band-Aid size than you would ever need in a year doing whatever you're doing. So first off, a pair of clean gloves. I don't bring those in my meta kit because I know I have a few pairs of clean nitrile gloves with me at all times in my toolkit. I can use those if I really need to. So yeah, vinyl gloves, good. Not hating on it, good addition. Safety pins. This is smart. If you do make a sling, if you do immobilize a joint, if you do need to secure some bandages or whatever, these are very good to have. Good addition. Gauze, one roll of gauze, small gauze. This is, like I said earlier, where these kits are lacking. Gauze takes up quite a bit of space, actually. So this is all this kit comes with, is one of these 4.5 meter sections of gauze. I would say that you probably need more, but that will get you through a bind. You can make a dressing out of a sock, you can make a dressing out of a shirt, you can get creative anyway, so no big deal. Tweezers, cool, good addition. You get a splinter or something like that. Tweezers are good, not hating on that by any means. Look at this, the standard thermal blanket looks good. So now we got 2 of those, can't hurt. Good addition, like I mentioned, you gotta have one of those. Scissors, smart addition. I don't put scissors in my kit simply because I know I have a nice sharp blade or 2 or 3 on me at all times, so do the other guys. And I've got things I can use to cut with, but now we do have some scissors, so good to have. Oh, cool, disposable splinter probes. These are actually handy. They're sterile kind of needle tips. They're good for getting splinters out. That's a really handy thing. A splinter is something you can come across quite often off-roading. What else do we have? A tongue depressor. This is one of those, like, it's in there, whatever. Yeah, sure, if you wanna examine someone's airway, great. If you wanna make a little splint for your finger, great. It is handy, it's good to have. Oh, afterbite, like we were talking about. They've got some afterbite in here, cool. So that's kind of like our Benadryl stuff. That's a smart addition. Let's quickly pull out some of these. Looks like they got a couple different gauze pads here. All sorts of different sizes, mostly on the smaller end, and kind of smaller, cheaper ones, but whatever. Okay, here we go. We go into the Band-Aid overload. The typical, this isn't a hit at this kit, this is the typical, like, let's pack our kit full of more stuff. Look at all these Band-Aids. These are all Band-Aids. 3 or 4 different brands and types of Band-Aids, but they all are essentially the same size. A couple bigger ones, a couple smaller ones. There's 100 Band-Aids there, easy. You do not need that many Band-Aids. I've already got a ton of Band-Aids. I might remove some of the Band-Aids from my kit. I'll go through this one more time later, but anyways, you can bring them, they don't take up much space. We've got all sorts of disinfectant pads here, isopropyl, moist towelettes in case you eat some spicy wings, I guess, and it hurts your lips, I don't know. But yeah, whatever, clean your wound, clean your hands. Oh, benzalkonium chloride wipes. Essentially, this is an antibacterial wipe. They're just stacking the kit a bit, I guess. Tiny little Band-Aid, kind of looks almost like a steri strip, a cheaper version. This is cool, actually, I like this. This is like an adhesive felt type pad. Say you had like a corn, say you had like a pressure blister on your heel, you could slip that in there. That's actually that's a good idea. I like that. Another mini Band-Aid hiding in there. An abdominal pad, I like that, good addition. One abdominal pad for a kit like this, not bad. Add it to the abdominal pads I have, that's great. Good to see they have that. And then a small roll of tape. This looks like just your standard paper medical tape. Sure, good enough. I'd like to see a plastic, more adhesive tape in there, but this is fine. They got to keep the cost down and keep the packaging down. And then they have some basic first aid tips in a little booklet. Cool. I mean, I don't think you'll really be reading through that out on the trail, but if you want to read through it before, that's great. Yeah, so there we go. There we have it. That's the first aid kit we got there. Very basic, supplemented with our kit. You have everything you need on the trail to like get you looked after. If you need more than this, then you've got bigger issues. The goal with this is, if you have bigger issues, is to stabilize and get that person comfortable and under control so that you can get them out of the trail if they need to get off the trail. But realistically, you'll be using first aid kits like this to deal with cuts, scrapes, various abrasions, punctures, splinters, potentially some minor broken bones like a digit on a finger. Anything more serious, you're going to be using this to clean up the area, secure some sort of splint, keep it clean and get the person out of there. If you have a compound fracture, there's bones sticking out, there's big amounts of bleeding. If there's serious trauma, then your number one goal is to use these items here to not even so much clean the wound, but to apply pressure to the area and hopefully stop the bleeding as much as you can, and then safely transport the person where they can get more medical assistance or wait for medical assistance to arrive at your location. I hope this video was helpful to you guys. I hope it gives you an idea of what you need to pack. I will include a list in the description, as well as a list in the video here somewhere, to let you know kind of what you need to start assembling your kit and my suggestions to you. These are just suggestions. I'm not offering you medical advice. Although I do work in the healthcare industry, I am not qualified to give you life-saving information here. This is simply an informative video. It's just to give you a little bit of knowledge. It's not telling you what you need and what you don't need. This kit is far from complete. It's far from perfect. But for me, I feel it's what you need and it works, especially on like a longer ride. It'll provide you with the tools that you need to kind of fix up your little headaches. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. Make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Check out some of our riding content. Check out some of our how-to and shop videos. Check out some of our compilation videos if you haven't checked those out yet. Thanks for watching. I really hope you found this video informative. I think this is an important topic that we need to discuss, and I hope this can help you assemble a first aid kit for your vehicle, whether it's a Jeep, a truck, a boat, an RV, a side-by-side, or an ATV. This applies to a lot of basically anything that's outdoorsy. So with that being said, big shout out to everyone that's been subscribed for quite a while. Hope you enjoyed this addition to the channel. And if you're new, do browse some of our previous content. We got a lot of wicked action content coming your way, as well as a bunch more informative video topics we'll be working on. Also, you can follow along on social media, on Instagram and on Facebook at AdrenalineJunkieProd. Make sure you also check out our Shopify store. It is the best way to help support the channel. You can find yourself some sweet Team AJP shirts, you can find some sweaters, as well as a ton of various stickers related to what we love to do, side-by-side, ATV, UTV stuff. Just living the off-road lifestyle. We got a lot of really cool videos coming your way in the months to come, so please make sure you check back frequently, because we're always releasing something. If you do make an order from the Shopify store, please allow 2 to 3 weeks for your order to get there at a minimum. It takes some time running everything, shipping it all out. We ship all over the world, so depending on where you are, it could be quicker, it could take a little bit longer to get there. Usually I only ship around once a week, so just give me a little bit more time. I'm not going to dispatch your order as fast as Amazon does. It will not be at your doorstep the next day, but trust me, it is coming and it is worth the wait. Every order comes with some free cool stickers, so that's also a bonus. If you want to see more content like this, if you want a more in-depth video on first aid kits and stuff like that, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you like, let me know what works for you, what you carry with you. If you have any medical experience or tips or tricks for first aid in the field, if you've ever had to use your first aid skills or your first aid kit and how that worked out for you, let's get the conversation going in the comments section. It's the best way to add value to these videos. I'm sure everyone else has some ideas. Like I said before, I've left stuff out here. This is just a really basic video. It doesn't cover all the bases, but maybe we can chat about what was missed. And in the future, if you guys want a more in-depth video, just let me know in the comments and I can make that happen. With that being said, ride safe out there, and we'll see you in the next video.